Welcome, friends, to your call to adventure and to the shared unfolding of my own. Got off to a little bit of a rocky start on my first video. Not what I had planned at all. I actually had a completely different debut planned for that, but following synchronicities and the spiritual guidance that I have, was prompted to start earlier. So that first video is what you get. And now what you're going to see is a period of time where when you are on a spiritual journey, it is not all rainbow and roses all the time. There's ebbs and there's flows, there's ups and there's downs. And I feel like you need to see both. And I'm in an ebb right now. I think I'm starting to climb out of it, but I really got knocked off balance a couple of days ago. I had actually planned on recording something yesterday, but I felt like I needed to, discover some things and get back in balance a little bit better before I released another video. What happened is that I was watching a video, and please, I want to preface this with I see beauty, I see love in everyone. I don't care how dark or evil they might be painted to be. So when I express criticism of somebody, it is not meant to devalue them in any way as a human being, okay? But I ran across a video by a man named RJ Spina. And I don't know, there's something about him that really was off-putting to me. I think it was partly because he seemed so self-assured that his way was the only way. One of the things that he said was that the big mistake that people on a spiritual journey make is that they look outward for answers. And it seemed a bit like a scare tactic to me because on the one hand, he was talking about how the spiritual community was talking about a lot of doom and destruction. Sure, we're in some trying times right now. There's no doubt about that. But he would say that, you know, if the spiritual community or the voice that you're listening to is spreading doom and gloom and fear, that was a sure sign that they were not divinely guided. And I tend to believe that a little bit. There's a little bit of truth to that, I think. But when he said that you can only look inward for that guidance because higher beings, this was another thing. He talks about how the dimension that we're in right now is 3D. That we are in, is 1D. No, is that right? Oh, now I forget. Well, okay, what I'm getting at is that in the spiritual community at large, when you look at tarot channels or just any other kind of reading channel, there's the nomenclature that's used is that we're going from 3D existence, which everyone's familiar with 3D, to 5D existence. Well, R.J. Spina says that we're in the first dimension and the third frequency, is what he says. And that there are a number of frequencies above the third frequency, but any dimension that is above the first dimension is non-tangible. It's not physical in any way. It's ethereal. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And one of the things another thing that rubbed me the wrong way was that he was talking about ascended masters, and he proclaimed himself. Well, okay, I won't say he proclaimed himself. That's an exaggeration. But he did mention that he believed himself to be an incarnation of Saint Germain, along with Francis Bacon and Christopher Columbus and some other people. I mentioned before that I have been part of several different religious organizations. And one of the things that's very off-putting is both when the people that are in the leadership are boastful and claim that they have the only way, along with those that make their teachings dependent upon monetary compensation that's above and beyond what would be considered reasonable, I think. You see that with the Church of Scientology, who has a lot of good information in their teachings, but they are very, very financially dependent on their, for lack of better words, parishioners in pursuing their progress up the spiritual bridge. The Mormon Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they do not require that tithes be paid, but part of their salvation path is that you must have temple ordinances. And the only way that you can enter a temple in the LDS Church is to be a full tithe payer. So that seems kind of sneaky as well. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much. But these are things that really kind of threw me off balance. And one of them that really, really, really threw me off balance was how R.J. Spina was talking about that these higher beings than us in the third dimension, the ones that we can't see, that they have a higher level of intellect that we do, and that they can actually read our minds and find pieces of things that are meaningful to us and fake inspiration from them, basically. So obviously this puts me in a huge turmoil, because I'm like, well, I'm following these different synchronicities, and the heart space that I'm doing these things from is from a place of love for mankind, and from trust for myself that I am convicted in that I am convicted in my faith toward others. And so I had to re-examine things, and I found myself looking on Reddit threads to see if R.J. Spina was a fraud, or one of the big things. Okay, so here's the big thing that makes it to where it's like a huge appeal to authority, and that is that his story, at least his YouTube story, more or less begins with a supposed self-healing that he did. He was extremely sick and claimed that he had been paralyzed from the chest down, and that he had healed himself through meditation and fasting within 100 days. Well, when you look at a claim like that, and if you see evidences for it, it really shakes you up a little bit about, well, okay, maybe this person knows what they're talking about. So, even though I look for flaws, I'm also saying, okay, but you're being egotistical too. You're trying to find fault in this person. So I would look for, other evidences of authenticity. And what I think I've come to realize is that we are all on our own path. We're all on our own adventure. And the way that I visualize it, I wasn't planning on getting into this, but I think it kind of fits. The way that I visualize this is that the essence of God is creativity in love. And each of us, for lack of better words, has our own sandbox that we can create in. that we can make our own reality. And that's fine. We can have our personal truths. We can have our own operations as long as they don't interfere with the sandboxes and truths of others. Now, where we have a civilization, an organization of people, a collective consciousness, that reality and the physical reality that we experience right now comes from an agreement between the creative, for lack of better words, brushstrokes that we are using within our own personal truth, our own personal creative artwork. And they say, hey, that I kind of agree with that. I want that as part of my sandbox. And this collection of these sandboxes, the more that they agree with each other, the more solid that reality becomes. And that's why it's so important for us to operate from love and to have faith in each other. We want to make sure that those things that we are creating, those things that we are pursuing, are going to be for the greatest good. And if we can examine ourselves and we can trust ourselves enough to know that our intention is for love, and we can trust ourselves and we can love ourselves, then we're going to be okay. We are going to have failures. They're going to be successful failures because we'll learn what we did wrong and we'll be stronger for it and we'll do better the next time. But yeah, it caused me to have a doubt of the synchronicities that I was seeing, especially because some of those synchronicities really spoke to me, and they were served up by YouTube's algorithm. And I think that's valid. I do believe that you can see synchronicities in technology. I think that you have to be present. And the thing is that if you're coming from a place of love, even if you make a mistake, it's not a fatal mistake. It's not a fatal deception. You're learning. You're learning to listen to the Spirit. You're learning to trust yourself, to fine-tune your intuition. So that's kind of where I landed on that. But yeah, it made me doubt some of my other direction, as far as I already talked about, the way that I envisioned that my YouTube debut would be. But I still see that vision coming, just not at the beginning now. I felt inspired to purchase a scrying mirror. It was something that had passed in some of my past intuitions as I was growing up, and I was like, I think that would be worth exploring. Every tool is a tool that can be used for good or for ill. And once again, coming from a place of love, I believe that these are tools that we can use. It also made me start to doubt some of the things that I had actually, some people that I had examined to see whether they were authentic in their intentions. And I'll tell you a couple of them. One of them is a lady named Kerry K, at kerryk.com. I had actually purchased some of her meditations. There's some other YouTube influencers that resonated with me, and I can't provide any links right now, but I will definitely mention the names of them so that you can see whether that resonates with your own truth. But yeah, it caused me to doubt teachers. One of the things that I'm really struggling with right now, and I'm going to have to really look into it and look within myself. When you come from a monotheistic religious background and you have been, I know this sounds derogatory, but it really is kind of true. When you've been indoctrinated to pray a certain way, when the possibility is presented to you of the possibility of praying to archangels and to your higher self and to run-of-the-mill angels and things like that, When you have someone telling you that you should not be reaching outside of yourself for anything, that really kind of puts you in a state of fear. And there are a lot of spiritual teachers, especially that resonate with the Eastern traditions, that they do speak to other beings, and they do pray, but their prayers are formulated different than they are when you're praying to a monotheistic God. So I've really got to look into that and see what feels right, what feels true, what resonates with my soul, within me. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much the journey that I want to, or the message that I want to pass in this. I want to make sure that, along with portraying my successes as I'm fumbling my way forward, I also want to make sure that I am genuine in portraying the difficulties that I'm going through. And like I said, I think I'm coming out of the end of that now. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. I hope to be more in touch with what I'm learning, what I might be able to share, or put things in a way that I unpackage them coherently for you, and try to improve the quality of what I'm sharing and the medium that it's on, a little bit at a time each time. I believe I've done that this time. I have tried to concentrate on less ums and uhs. So there's my improvement for this time. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to my story, and I hope that it helps you along your own spiritual adventure. Thank you, and have a great day.